Hey, welcome to Mikey's Video Game Madness. Today we're playing Fatal Frame on the PlayStation 3. That's originally for the PlayStation 2. Hopefully I didn't just yank out the microphone wire because I'm recording this off the cuff. Haven't done this in a while. Figured I'd try it again. See what the difference is with the videos. I know there's been a lot on my mind and shit like that. So I figured I'd just try it anyway. My microphone for my computer's been fucked up. I need to get a new one. So I downloaded this a week or two ago or whatever with the intent of not only playing it but downloading it for this channel. So keep that in mind. I'm one of the few people that give a shit of what you guys think and actually go out of my way, even though I don't make a living off of this, to actually think about games for the channel to put on for you guys to see or whatever, or recommend games. This game is actually extremely difficult for me to see because when I hook it up to this recording device, it's going through component cables and then re-putting it into a HDMI format. Because the PlayStation 3 is kind of a bitch to record for, and I can barely see. Actually have to brighten this up through the controls on Vegas, so if it looks like shit, I apologize. This is a very dark game to begin with, obviously, because you have a flashlight. It actually runs at 60 frames per second. I'm going to push info on my TV right now. It's running at native 720p on the PlayStation 3. Essentially, if you had a 60 gig PlayStation 3, one of the original PlayStation Fats, this is what it looks like. Sadly, mine crapped out on me. I repaired it, but those repairs are only temporary, and if it fucks up, the disc is permanently stuck in the system unless you take it apart, and I haven't been brave enough to risk it. I'm thinking about getting a new clamshell for it. I would really like to have a dedicated PlayStation 3 for my older PlayStation 2 games. This was bought off of the PlayStation store for like $1. They had one of those flash sales, and it's a steal. This game is usually around $11 US used from what I've seen at the retro stores, which still isn't too bad, but it's not a game I'm a fanatic about, but it's a really fun game. There's not a lot of survival horror games out there, and it holds up really well. I'm hoping maybe I can get the native 60 frames per second frame rate, which is kind of a treat for a PlayStation 2 game, because not a whole lot of PlayStation 2 games ran on 60 frames per second unless maybe they were sports games or whatever. So the object of this game is, I played Fatal Frame 3 a while back, so maybe you're used to seeing that video, but maybe some of you aren't. I don't even know if any of you are going to even watch this video, so whatever, I'll explain it again. It's trying to find out what happened to your brother who went to this mansion before. A lot of fucked up shit happened to in this mansion or whatever. So you have like this camera, if I remember correctly, it's like called the Obscura or some shit like that. Don't quote me. And anyway, you attack ghosts by taking their picture, which actually takes their souls away. And when you take the pictures, depending on how well the picture is, the more health points you take from the ghosts. So it's a mixture of Resident Evil and a strange first-person shooter, since the camera aspects take place in the first-person shooter or the first-person perspective. It's a pretty fun game. It had creepy atmosphere. I remember the graphics being really good at the time. Fatal Frame 2 and Fatal Frame 3 have significantly better graphics in my opinion. 4 came out for the Wii, but not in the US, and then for the Wii U, I think the 5th incarnation of this game came out as a download only in the US, and all the other regions got physical copies. I don't know if the Wii U is region free or not, but you know, this is typical survival horror fare. Read a bunch of fucking notes and then find your way. I see a hand hanging up off of there. There seems to be a theme with mirrors. I used to know this Japanese girl. Like, she used to go on trips to visit her family and stuff in Japan. And I remember one time she was talking about, like, culturally like a fear of like mirrors and stuff like that. I think her name was Asami. It was a while ago. It's this girl that rode the bus. She made me like a paper crane randomly once, I remember. I thought it was so cool. And I remember I had Kirby's Dream Land on the bus, and I'm not stereotyping Japanese people, but it was one of the first time I remember a girl asking to let me borrow my Game Boy, because usually that was like a boys thing or whatever, and she helped me figure out how to beat this one boss on Kirby's Dream Land, because I didn't know, like with the last boss, King DDD, I think I said enough D's there, where you had to suck up the stars and spit at them. I was only 8 years old. What am I supposed to know? I forgot what button you push to go in first person. It's been a while since I played this. I briefly played it. This is not exactly the beginning of the game. There's this prologue part where you actually play as the brother, and I'm having a hard time seeing because the game's usually not this dark, so it's circle for first person. And when you take the pictures, like the camera will shake on its own. Because I guess you're scared or whatever, and it makes it more difficult. But it's a nice looking early PlayStation 2 game. I'm guessing that's a ghost since it's highlighting, but you have a limited amount of film, so I don't want to waste it. If you saw me play Fatal Frame 2, it's a lot like that, except the mechanics are a little bit more simple and the graphics don't look as nice. But the dynamic camera angles, I feel, work quite well for this type of game. Although it's really slow, I need to... Oh, you have this little prissy run or whatever. But yeah, I remember Asami. I didn't see her. We went to elementary school together, and then I didn't see her for a long time. And then randomly, she was in one of my art classes for college, and I remember her talking about how she feared mirrors and stuff like that, and how it was like a culture thing. I guess there's a fear of like ghosts or seeing a bad version of yourself. I don't know. Obviously, I was paying a lot of attention. We weren't like friends, we just were kind of like classmates, and she kind of stuck out because she had like a unique sense of humor that was kind of endearing. I remember at first I didn't recognize her. She had all these piercings and stuff, and like tattoos and stuff. I guess she went through a phase since the last time that I had seen her. I never saw her since. Due to like Facebook friends recommendations and stuff like that. I think she's friends with some of my friends, but I can't remember which ones. I guess I can't go down there. It's just too dark. There's probably not stairs. I think that was a cutoff. This is one of those older games where you can't adjust the brightness in the game. You have to do it manually with your TV, and I have my TV set to specific settings that I don't want to redo. So hopefully when I put this in post-processing, I'll fix the editing so you won't have to bear through what I'm going through, except the fact that you'll see me kind of grope the walls a little bit because I can barely see. Most games I usually don't run into this problem. PlayStation 3 is such a bitch to record for, unless you have a recording device that does straight up component, which I have, but you need a computer to record at the same time, and I don't really have room for a recording station. I need to get a proper computer desk with enough room to put like a little TV or something beside it. Like I would like to have a room for like a CRT television. Alright, I'm sure this is incredibly boring. I'm sorry. This isn't what I planned. I didn't think the game would be this dark. I tried to adjust all the options and shit before I started playing, but was quite disappointed. when I found out that you couldn't manually control the brightness. That was quite common for games at this time. It's just like, fuck you, do it with your own TV. We have the settings set up perfectly. It's your fucking fault. And since I have this microphone tethered to me, I don't want to get up and turn off the lights, which would help because since I'm sitting on the floor, my TV is reflecting the ceiling fan, which is lighting up the living room. So not only am I playing this game, I have a gigantic ceiling fan image on the screen, which is lovely. But anyway, those herbs, if you haven't guessed it already, are to restore your health, which the ghosts will drain. So anybody who tells you that ghosts cannot hurt you are liars, because they obviously have not been attacked by one. The geometry is really playing on this game, I guess, to sustain that 60 frames per second. Having a PS2 game run at 60 frames per second is a real treat, because usually when you play these PlayStation 2 games, they run usually under 30 frames per second a lot of times. There was a special director's cut of the second Fatal Frame, which I also bought for $1. The second Fatal Frame, not the director's cut. So if you're into the series, I would definitely look into, and you have an original Xbox, I would definitely look into getting Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly director's cut for the Xbox versus getting the PlayStation 2 version, and I'm sure it looks nicer too. I was actually surprised they got that version, since there weren't a whole lot of Japanese exclusive games on the original Xbox or even the 360. At first, there was on the 360 because the PlayStation 3 wasn't adopted as quickly. First of all, it came out later. Second of all, let me go in there. Second of all, a PlayStation was like $600, I think, for the good model. I think you could get like a 20 gig model, but I think those are the size models. I remember there not being a lot of space on the cheaper model or whatever on the hard drive. Also, I think I know now all the PlayStation 3 models don't have it, but it was quite unique at the time to get a PlayStation 3 with the, what would you call them these days, like the media card drive or slots or whatever. It's been so long because nobody ever uses that shit anymore except me. But now I'm used to using thumb drives, but it had like one of those universal media card drives where like it took almost every type of like memory card or SD card or whatever that you had. I think both of them had Wi-Fi though, but don't quote me. That was actually a pretty big deal because on the Xbox 360 with the older models, you had to get the little adapter that hooked up to the back and had two antennas on it. The Xbox 360 that I have is an older model that was kindly donated to me. Has to use one of those adapters. I'm so thankful that I got it because I was running out of Ethernet cords. So that was a blessing. And just getting the system alone was a blessing. I wasn't sure if I was ever going to be able to play a 360 game again. Man, I'm sorry that this game is going to be so boring. It wasn't my intention, but I fucking can't see anything. This flashlight, as nice as it is, isn't really helping much. But if you watch my Fatal Frame 3 video, I'll tell you another thing that's nice are these dynamic shadows. I was playing Doom, the BFG edition, and I remember the regular edition. I believe even the original Xbox edition, the OG Xbox as we'll call it, because whenever I say Xbox One, it's incorrect now. That's what we used to call the original Xbox. And I still call it by accident from time to time. Excuse me, I'm stuttering. Walking like I fucking had a few to drink here. Alright, there's this way. Sometimes these fixed camera angles can get confusing. This is a good game. Don't let me not being able to see anything. Usually this wouldn't be a problem. When I have to bypass the HDMI, it just darkens up the screen where I have to manually adjust everything, and it's kind of annoying. There's probably a door that I haven't found, and I've walked past it 200 times and I can't figure it out. And then once I put this into post-processing, I'm going to be really pissed off because I walked past it 200 times. Since this is an older mansion, all the doors have all those shitty paper sliding screens. It's locked. Kick it open, except she doesn't look like the kick a door open type. She really didn't dress for any kind of adventure, that's for sure. She just looks like she got out of like private school or something. That seems to be a theme in a lot of Japanese games, is that all the students that go to school are usually in uniform. Was that a door? And I walked past it all this time. The lighting and everything is really nice, but thank you for pointing to the camera with that strangely angular finger. That kind of creeps me out a little bit. Seems like a lot of ghosts in these Japanese games always have like long black hair. And their facial features are mostly hidden. Is that a cultural thing? If you ever saw the movie The Grudge or whatever, or even The Ring, which is based on a Japanese movie, but I'm sure they took some nods from that. Obviously, since it was an American remake, of course they did. See what happens when I do these off-the-cuff videos? I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. So I'm guessing when that lights up, apparently she has a PKE meter on her. Means there could be a ghost around here somewhere. With the camera, I actually can see shit. This flashlight just sucks balls. It's such a prissy run. But anyway, I was saying for the third time, on the Doom 3 on the Xbox, had like better shadows cast with the flashlight, but I guess in order to make the game brighter and stuff like that, the shadows and Doom the BFG edition, even though the engine is superior that Doom 3 is running on, I guess in order to make the game brighter, shadows aren't cast as well as they would have been with the flashlight in the original Doom, which isn't a big deal, but sometimes it bugs me because I'm used to playing the original Doom and I felt like the shadows from the flashlight were a big deal, but I think they tried their best to make the BFG edition of Doom 3 to be more action oriented at the sacrifice of some of the more atmospheric areas of the game. I know it's locked, but I don't know where the fuck to go because I can't see anything. What was the point of freaking seeing that girl? playing scary music I can barely hear because I turned the sound down so my voice could actually be heard over the sounds of the game, but now I kind of regret it. Well thought out video, Michael. Well thought out. I only can imagine why your subscriber base is so high. I think that girl's nickname that I told you people about was Asami Tsunami, which wasn't from me. Somebody else did that. But she was always cool. Her other friend didn't really talk that much. I don't think she knew how to speak English very well or something. Because she seemed super friendly, but she was like really silent. I don't think their parents really spoke English. At least they didn't then. I don't know how everybody was when they got older, because I only saw Asami later on in the college classes. I don't even know why I'm telling you this story. Probably doesn't mean anything to you, but I have to find out some shit I'm talking about while I'm dry humping these walls. Feel like Kane from the Poltergeist. Let me in. That mirror is always freaking me out because I always think it's a ghost, but it's really just my dumbass. Yeah, it just came from there. You should have brought a crowbar with you. Like, all these reflections and the frame rate and the lighting and stuff was pretty uncommon for the PlayStation 2 at the time. I like backtracking because I can't see what I'm doing. You can use the right stick to move the flashlight around, but it's not really helping my situation out much. But it's all about the commentary, right, folks? And then I get messages. I'm not really into this sort of game. Okay, well, good thing I worked so hard to create that fucking commentary you watched. Alright. I mean, I should have just recorded. She's stuck. Should have just recorded the fucking gameplay and called it a day. If people don't want to fucking watch my commentary. Was I complaining? I'm not complaining. Don't tell me like I'm supposed to take that mask that I passed all that time and put it on. I bet you that's what I was supposed to do. I played this game when it was brand new and I tested it out before I started this, but when I tested it out I didn't have all this shit hooked up and I could see just fine because I didn't have I was using regular HDMI cables. Like, if you're still using component cables with your PlayStation 3 and you have a HDMI port on your freaking television set, I don't know what to tell you. What are you doing? But I'm sure you don't, because I believe you had to pay extra. Now, if you're using AV cables, I'll really have to question your motives there. There's the creepy mask. Well, can you take it? So it looks like that's what's supposed to be at the door. Am I pushing the wrong button? I don't know what I'm doing. Obviously. Not that I need to tell you that. Give me the fucking mask. Probably another mask. I don't mean to yell at you, game. It really is a good game, if you could see. Maybe I have to use the camera to spot something that I didn't see before. Oh, she can walk a little bit. Is this supposed to... Oh, that's what it is. I'm supposed to go over there. Hey, I'm learning. It's been a long time. Last time I played this game, I was in high school. graduated in 2003. That probably makes me sound really old to some of you and really young to to others. Sorry, I'm not really able to talk during these off-the-cuff things. That's why I typically record afterwards, but I'm not really doing that great of a job when I do those either. But please like my channel anyway. Now I forgot what buttons to take pictures. I think it's the top button. It's a pretty spiffy camera. A PlayStation 3 gets rid of some of the aliasing. It has like its own little hardware anti-aliasing going on. It's not perfect, but it does help. But it does create somewhat of a slightly blurrier look, in my opinion. But it's like, do you want it to be slightly blurrier, or do you want it to be really jagged? And some PlayStation 2 games, in my opinion, are blurrier anyway. If you're using HDMI cables, it actually upscales the PlayStation 2 games to 1080p, but don't expect the kind of quality that you would get on those PS2 games that are on PlayStation 4. There's also not too many of them out. There's a lot more on PlayStation 3 Network. Ideally, it would be great to have a system that plays the games natively. But, you know, wish in one hand, shit in the other. I have a native playing a native PS2 playing PlayStation 3, but it needs some work. I've been put new thermal paste and everything under the processor and stuff, but the heat sink on it is shitty and it tends to overheat. Some of the stuff needs to be resoldered on it. Like, I could probably run it for a little while. If I had a station, I might try it again, but I want to get a new case for the PlayStation 3 too. I just don't think that case that I have now has the best airflow. I don't think it's the best design. I hate that they took it out. I wish they had a model that you could just paid a little bit more money for the, I guess the chip was called the motion engine, because the old PlayStation 3s actually had a chip for PlayStation 3 games, and they actually put the PlayStation 2 chip on the game. And then I think the European PlayStation 3, which I wish they would have done this with later models, the European PlayStation 3 actually emulated PlayStation 2 games, which was really cool. But I noticed, like with some games, I think it was one of the games on the Taito collection. I remember Steve Benway playing it. I think it was a racing. No, I think it was Bubble Bobble, which is a really popular game, and it's not like intense like graphic wise, but it was having issues playing. And then I was like, oh, let me check out mine. It might work perfectly. And then I did some research and found out that the original European PlayStation 3s only emulated PlayStation 2 games, whereas the American PlayStation 3s, I don't know about the Japanese ones, played it natively, because they actually put a PlayStation 3 processor in the, a PlayStation 2 processor in the PlayStation 3. Today is so fucky with my speech. It's a very high resolution tape recorder. This game is known to scare a lot of people, but I think people remember the sequels more than the first one. This one is kind of a game I think a lot of people checked out after the excuse me, I can't talk. after the second and third game became popular, then people were curious about it. I wonder whatever happened to the first game, because this game wasn't all that popular. It was intriguing to me because I remember reading about it in a magazine and it looked really cool, and I liked the little transparent ghost effects. And I will admit, the Japanese horror games intrigued me a little bit more because their creativity and approach to horror is a lot different than ours, as any countries would be, because you're raised on different sorts of things. So I liked the different approach, and I felt like this had a unique approach to it. And that's all I gotta say about that.
What was that?
I'd like to fight one ghost before I end this video, but if this video drags on too long, I will not. I'll of course post it even if it's a shitty video, just because, you know, I like to post things. That, and it's always cool to hear my voice on the internet. Since I watched that screen and I'm talking, which is really hard when you play these types of games, I get very disoriented of where I've already been. And with the first game, the scenery isn't all that unique or stands out terribly. A lot of areas look similar, I won't lie to you. Not to say it's a bad game, especially for $2. I paid $20 for this game. I saw this at the retro store for $10. I almost picked it up, I just didn't for whatever reason. And then when I saw it was $1, I'm like, why not? If I see it again, maybe I'll pick up the physical copy, but I said for right now, I would like to play these games, and for $1, I can't even, you used to be able to, but I can't even get like a fucking dollar menu hamburger from McDonald's for that. They call it the dollar menu, but now you gotta like pay like $1.50 or some shit like that. I sound like a cheapskate. Sometimes I am with used games if I know I can get a better deal or whatever, or if I'm impatient. With newer games, if it's a series that... Here, we get to fight something if I remember what to press. That was a bad photo. Run away. No, get off of me. I keep on pushing the wrong buttons to activate the camera. Still wasn't enough. Or was it? Yeah, it was enough. There, I fought a ghost. I think with this one, you kill them easier the closer they are. But in the other ones, it judges you a different way. Or maybe it's the opposite. Aren't I a source for fucking information? How much health do I have? I'm not really concerned. I'm probably not going to save this game after I'm done playing it and start over again, where I actually can see. You won't see a lot of the issues that I'm going through, except the fact that I'm probably walking around in circles. Was there anything over there that ghost may or may not have dropped? I'm so used to playing modern games, I'm pushing the fire button, which would be R1 on the PlayStation controller, even though with the PlayStation 2 now it's R2, because now the trigger buttons don't suck ass. I know some of you like the trigger buttons on the PlayStation 3, but I personally think they're garbage compared to the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 4 controller. Now, if you ask me with the PlayStation 4 controller, I think that controller is absolutely perfect except for the D-pad. I don't like the D-pad for fighting games. They need to put a freaking Sega Saturn like D-pad on these newer controller games. That was like the best D-pad ever. I didn't even have a Sega Saturn, but I just like that circular D-pad. Obviously I need to take a picture of this since it's all fucking blurry, like an acid trip. Oh, it looks like a mask. Great, I have a photo in my file, and now there's this thing that looks like I'm supposed to put a mirror in it. Since it took a picture of a dragon mask, maybe I'm supposed to go back to that area with the dragon mask. Yeah, I'm using my Sherlock Holmes skills, or lack thereof. Yeah, I like had a friend, well, there wasn't a friend, it was like this kid that was forced to come over because his parents wanted to hang out with my parents. I can't remember if the ghosts can walk through doors. I'm thinking they can. They can. They're like Slimer on Ghostbusters. Too bad they don't have like a patch of slime every time they go through the doors. Oh, did that hurt? I hope it did, you piece of shit. There we go. Sucking them souls. In a spiritual sense, of course. Alright, I don't even know where I am. This area looks somewhat similar, especially when you can't see anything. Since I ran like the little coward that I am, now I don't know where I'm supposed to go. I'm sure you guys are not used to that by now watching this. Oh yeah, I already did check my health. I was about to say I'm gonna look at my health, but I don't think it was too bad, since I'm fighting like probably the other people that played this game with component cables through a recorder, and the game was super dark and they got lost and eventually starved to death because they couldn't see to find their way out of the mansion. Alright. This is where it just was, isn't it? Yep, it appears that way. This game makes me want to play the first clock tower. I really miss playing that. It was actually the second clock tower, but it was the first clock tower that we got here. The first clock tower was actually on the Super Famicom and the Wonder Swan, but I imagine the Super Famicom, which is the Japanese Super Nintendo, was probably the better way to go. The Wonder Swan was a Japanese exclusive handheld made by the creator of the Game Boy, and you could hold it two different ways. One way you could hold it vertically to play shooters, like a lot of shooting games were. Shoot 'em ups, as some may call them. Like a lot of times when we went to the arcade, the monitor would be vertical, so you could hold the handheld that way. I think that person died in a car wreck, unfortunately. Am I supposed to go and put this thing into the other mirror now? These survival horror game puzzles were never overly complex, except not being able to see and trying to figure out where shit goes is. Trying to. Oh, it's a ghost. Come on. Were you just there to give me the creeps, or are you really there? Imagine that would be more scary if the sound was up. But not really that scary with the sound down. I just saw a silent closing door. I never know how loud the game is going to be when I use the direct microphone into this recorder, because there's no way to tell till I plug it in. And I've had some heartbreaking moments where I feel like, oh, that was some of my best commentary, and then I go put it in the computer, and it's pretty lousy commentary. Well, the commentary is usually lousy to begin with, but more lousy than usual. I'm so great at promoting my channel. I could see that being a jump scare if the sound was up, but I don't really see it that frightening. Was he just there to fucking try to scare me, or am I gonna fight him? Because I got a camera, I'm ready. I'm welcoming you to try to attack me. I'm inviting you. My English is so well. My broken English, since I have an American accent, that would be considered broken English. I don't know why I need to clarify that, but it's been clarified. I'm gonna look around here, considering there seems to be a lot of supernatural forces trying to stop me from inserting mirrors into said things. I don't even know if I'm going the right way. Wasn't this where the fucking mirror was? If it's not, I might call it a day, because I feel like I've walked around this area enough. Come on, this can't be it. I know I got the thing around here from somewhere nearby. Watch, I'm gonna end up walking back to where I originally left. This might be the area though with the mirror. No, it's not. I'm not gonna give up. I lied. I'm determined. I mean, I'm not gonna give up right this second. I probably will end up giving up eventually. So I'll probably fuck it up somehow. It's hard to tell sometimes what's a door and what's not. Alright, let's keep on going. If you only knew what I was looking at. I would not put the video in on the same brightness level that it's actually being recorded with. So if the colors look washed out, just be thankful you don't have to struggle through what I am. You should just be thankful in general. There's probably something good going on in your life you're not paying attention to. And once it goes away, then you'll miss it. That's my positive educational message for today. And I walked in a circle again. What the fuck? I'm telling you, these fixed camera angles are messing with me. Alright, that and the darkness. It's mostly the darkness and the fact that everything looks almost the same. That sort of becomes an obstacle. See, this is the hallway I walked in, and then there's this thing, and I can go this way. But this door is locked, so where the hell did I get that mirror from? Did the platform that was on magically disappear? Probably not. I just don't know where I'm going. It's in slow motion, so I must be doing the right thing. If I wasn't in this room before, I could have sworn that was the room I walked out of that had like that ghost that I fought. She didn't go into the room? What the fuck was the point of that? Come on now. I'm sure some of you that are veterans of this game are screaming at the screen, letting me know, like, are trying to let me know. Foolish you, if you yell at the screen, at a video, I can't hear you, but I'm sure some of you will feel inspired to type some nasty comments to let me know how much I suck, but you're not seeing what I'm seeing, which is almost nothing. There it is. You just didn't notice the sliding door after 5 times. It's a picture of my bro and a key, which goes to that other thing, but if I keep on playing, this video is going to last forever. I know exactly what I need to use that key for, but I would probably not find it 10 times because I can barely see. I'm hoping I can get this bright enough where everything's not washed out or overly saturated with brightness. It's always a challenge. Does that mean I get to fight something before I end the video? Because that would be cool. There you are. Jeez. Jeez. Get off of me. Fucking fixed camera angle. I can't see. Well, I can't see because of the darkness. It's not the game's fault. It's because of this recorder I can't see. Plus, I would be lying to you if I said I was well versed in this game. I haven't played it in quite some time. I'm not gonna blame the game just because I'm fucking sucking. That should kill you, I hope. Go get these published in Time magazine and call it a day. Thank you all so much for watching and putting up with me trying to play this in the dark. That was my phone because my dumbass forgot to turn it off. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was new, unique, awesome, and hopefully it'll encourage you to watch my channels more to hear what bizarre, wacky shit I have to say. It's always a blast on Michael's channel. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and listen to whatever the hell the kitty cat has to say at the end of the video. Alright guys, thank you, take care, bye. And thanks for watching again, if I didn't already say that. But I probably did. I'm so fucking OCD, I don't even know what I'm doing half the time. Alright, thank you, bye.
If you want to, like, comment, and subscribe! Thanks for watching!